They will face a stiff challenge in the Detroit Lions, led by NFL rushing leader Barry Sanders. The inconsistent Lions played one of their best games last week against Tampa Bay and hope to win 2 in a row for the first time this year. The Pontiac Silverdome on a perfect day in the Midwest, but it doesn't really matter because it's always perfect inside the dome. The Detroit Lions entertain the New York Giants. Both of them have 4-3 records, both of them thinking about playoffs. Pat Summerall here with John Madden, and 4-3 and 3 in a row for the Giants. It doesn't seem quite right to be saying that, but if that's the way it is. Both teams have new head coaches. Bobby Ross here in Detroit, left San Diego, came here. Jim Fassel in New York. And they both have their teams on the road to success. And John, how have they brought that about?
Well, I think they're both doing a very good job because they, usually when a job is open, it's because the other guy failed and the other team was bad. And that's what happened in both of these cases. And they knew that they had to bring self-esteem to their teams, and they've both done that. In Detroit, I think Bobby Ross did it by realizing, okay, what do I have here? I have Barry Sanders and I have Herman Moore. So I got to run it with Barry and I got to throw it to Herman Moore. Barry Sanders is a leading rusher now in the NFL. Herman Moore is a leading receiver. I think Jim Fassel realized that he doesn't have a lot of great players over there, so if they're going to do it, they have to do it as a team. They have to do it with speed. They have to do it with defense, gang tackling, all those types of things.
More immediacy. How are they going to approach today's game? How are the Giants approaching this game against Detroit?
Well, first of all, they're starting Danny Cannell, the second-year guy, starting his second game. And you know that anytime you have a young quarterback, you have to give him help. So the best help you can give him is a good running game. So they have to establish that with their big offensive line. And then on defense, that's where they're going to have their problems, because you say, we got to stop Barry Sanders. Well, you don't stop Barry Sanders. You try and control, contain him. Then when you get that done, then you can go after Scott Mitchell, and then you can cover Herman Moore.
And Bobby Ross in Detroit, how do they approach this?
Well, he knows that the thing that he has to be able to do is just keep feeding the ball to Barry Sanders, because Barry Sanders doesn't gain a lot of yards on every play, but you just have to stay with him, keep feeding the ball, because he really is the man. And then on defense, I think that's where they're going to have their problem, because they are an undersized defensive team. Can they hold up to that big offensive line of the Giants?
It'll be a challenge, no question about it. And coming up, it's the New York Giants and the Detroit Lions from Pontiac Silverdome. John and I'll be back for the opening kickoff when Fox NFL Sunday continues. Back at the Pontiac Silverdome. The Lions won the toss. Brad Daluiso will kick off for the Giants. That's he teeing it up. Glenn Milborn back deep for Detroit. Was with Denver, now in Detroit. Daluiso has been erratic with his kickoffs and field goals up to this point, but Jim Fassel, the head coach, thinks he's got things worked out. It's a short kick. At the 3 is Milborn. And Milborn gets out to about the 25, perhaps the 26, stopped by Kevin Alexander. And let's have a look at the Detroit offense. Scott Mitchell, big 6'6", and in front of him a rather smallish offensive line. Compton, Semple, Glover, Hardings, and Tharp. Barry Sanders, the great one. Tommy Vardell, the 2 running backs. Morton and Moore wide, and Pete Metzelaars, the veteran Buffalo Bill, who's in Detroit now, starting at tight end. And Mitchell back to throw. And goes quickly to work and overthrows. Herman Moore, covered by Felipe Sparks. The Giants defense, Bratsky, Hamilton, Harris, and Strahan up front. Miller, Widmer, and Armstead, the linebackers. And the secondary, the 2 good cornerbacks, Sehorn and Sparks, the 2 safety men who are also very good, Wooten and Sam Garnes. Jim Fassel says Garnes can be a star in the NFL. He's big, no question about it. 3 wide receivers. This is Barry Sanders. Take it down in the backfield.
You know, it's interesting. Detroit starts off, Pat, the first play of the game. Scott Mitchell goes deep, and that's to loosen up that Giant defense, and the Giants covered it perfectly. Then they go with a nickel defense on second down. Detroit is going to run at that. They get penetration, and that's the way to contain or control Barry Sanders, is to get him in the backfield before he gets started.
3rd and 14, 3 wide receivers this time for Detroit. Mitchell back to throw, under pressure, and down he goes. The Giants, led by Robert Harris, take him down inside the 10-yard line.
John Fox, the defensive coordinator, said the first thing we have to do is we have to get to Scott Mitchell early in the game, because if you do that, you can rattle him, and they are getting to him early in the game. We talked about the defense being in a nickel defense. They just had 2 guys break through, boom, and hit him right at the same time. The first guy being Robert Harris.
Amani Toomer fields it for the Giants. There's a flag down on the play. John Jett, longtime Dallas Cowboy, was the punter. Scott Mitchell. The start was very shaky for both Mitchell and Sanders, holding against the Giants. The referee is Jerry Austin today.
You know, there's 2 flags, Pat. There's another flag over here. I think the holding was on the other side. I'm not sure what this official has down here. He's standing on the 50-yard line.
There's 1 flag.
In fact, I see another flag over on the other side of the field.
We have 2 fouls on the play.
Well, we have 2 fouls.
Are on the receiving team. We have holding, number 22. That penalty is going to be declined. We have an illegal block from behind. Number 23, 10 yards. That penalty is enforced. First down.
22 and 23. Thomas Randolph and Sparks. And so they'll back the Giants up.
That's one thing you can always tell when you have a real good team, is when your starting players are playing on special teams. And when you have a guy like Felipe Sparks, one of the best defensive backs, one of the best corners in all football, when he is on your special teams, then you have a real football team.
Danny Cannell opens at quarterback for the Giants. Played at Florida State. We'll give you the rest of the lineups in a moment. The Giants hurry out of the huddle and get started in a hurry. And Cannell drops. Pass is caught by Chris Callaway. He gets into Detroit territory. Let's look at the Giant offense more closely. Cannell started last week against Arizona. Earned his first win in his first start. The huge offensive line, Oben, Bishop, Scott Stone, and Scott Gregg. Wheatley and Way, the 2 running backs. Howard Cross is on the move. He's the tight end. And the handoff is to Tyrone Wheatley. Stopped for a short gain. The rest of the Giant offense: Wheatley, Way, Callaway, and Kevin Alexander, the wide receivers. Howard Cross, the tight end. Rarely does he catch balls. Good blocker. Giants in a hurry on a quick count. Charles Way gets a couple, and they do this a lot. They're in a hurry a lot.
You know, they do 2 things. One, they get in and out of the huddle quickly, and then when they get at the line of scrimmage, they get the ball off quickly. They go a lot on first sound. In fact, the first sound for the Giants is just pro. He just gets up there and goes, pro, and then the ball is snapped on pro.
3rd down, about 6. 3 wide receivers.
They also do a lot of this, Pat, a lot of shotgun, where the quarterback is back in the backfield more, I think, than anyone else in the league right now.
Callaway on the move. Cannell fires high. Intended for Alexander. And the Giants too far away for a field goal attempt. Will have to punt. They are a very crisp offensive unit, the Giants.
You know, that's what Jim Fossil always talks about, you know, management of the game by the quarterback. He talks about playing up-tempo football, and that's what they do. I mean, in and out of the huddle at the line of scrimmage, get the ball off before the defense has a lot of time to adjust.
Brad Maynard back to punt it. 3rd round draft choice. The Lions appear to have jumped They all point at the Giants. Let's see.
But it's not enough for a first down. Even if it is against the Lions, it'll only be 5
False
yards.
start. Number 52. 5 yards. It's still 4th down.
False start. Settle down, says the coach. That's his son standing right behind him, who carries the cable to his headset.
Yeah, his son Mike right over his right shoulder there. I think that's great. I mean, that's something you like to see when a father can coach in this league and have his son at his side during the game. I don't think it can get much better than that.
That's pretty good. The kick is signaled fair catch. Milburn signals there at about the 14-yard line, so the Lions will get their second chance on offense. 0-0. Somehow when you see a scene like that, you don't think of Detroit, do you? You think of production lines and mass production and automobiles and smokestacks, but it's beautiful around here. Here's Mitchell back to throw it. Fires it over the head of Barry Sanders. Well over his head.
Mitchell's looking a little shaky here, isn't he? You know, that first pass he threw deep early on the first down to Herman Moore the last time they had that ball, and then on the third down he really got racked by Robert Harris, and he looks a little jumpy right now as this game starts.
That was one of their theories.
Well, that's what John Fox, the defensive coordinator, says. If you hit Scott Mitchell, you can rattle him.
Sanders. A lot of people around the ball in a hurry.
See, one of the first guys right up there was Tito Wooten.
Yep.
You know, and again, any time you see a safety, Tito Wooten is a safety, you see a safety up on or near the line of scrimmage, like right in this area making a play, you know that they have an extra man up because he becomes the 8th man up. You see, they got 7, and then right here, right now, boom, that is quick support. They start that way, they key on Barry Sanders, and whack, they're all going to get to him at the same time.
3 wide receivers. They're saying the Lions moved. The Lions now pointed the Giants.
Well, Strahan pointed at Tharp, and Tharp pointed at Strahan.
Usually this is on the offense.
False start. Number 71. 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
Larry Tharp is the man who moved. Bobby Ross. Talk about nuts and bolts and serious football thoughts and discipline and organization. All those things come to mind.
Yeah, he's a real football man.
4 wide receivers this time for the Lions. Mitchell gets it quickly to Johnny Morton. Outside the 20, not enough for a first down. Armstead made the stop. The Lions will have to punt.
Scott Mitchell stayed in there and waited and waited for find a passing lane, and he finally found the passing lane, but he was 3 yards short of the first down. There's some gloves or something on that field. Someone lost some equipment right there.
Yeah.
Some equipment. Some man's equipment out there.
Left his glove. Jets punt. The Giants take it out of bounds. Schumer. Somebody, surely they got to remember they left those somewhere. Or doggone near all automated now.
Just going to say, you don't see a lot of people working there, do you?
People operating those things that operate on the cars. 1st and 10 at their own 40. The Giants. Danny Cannell back to Tyrone Wheatley. He's not going very far. Wheatley, of course, has sprinter's speed. Injured both of his shoulders last week, but not seriously.
Maybe that's why he ran out of bounds on that play. You know, one time that wasn't part of football. I mean, running back, running back would get out there, and when you would get to the sideline, you would turn it up. And now I think that, you know, it is part. It's accepted. No one says anything. A guy just takes the ball and runs out of bounds, and it's 2nd down, and they play another play, and no one says anything.
The paychecks have had their effect.
The salary cap and the free agency and all that.
Here's Cannell. Through the hands of Aaron Pierce, who tried to run that seam pattern.
I don't know what he was trying to run. He looked like he was trying to run something, and in the middle of trying to run a seam pattern, he started to stumble. because
stopped.
That's not a bad throw. I mean,
No.
you have to make that play. I don't know what Aaron Pierce was thinking, because he kind of stopped. It was right in the helmet in the middle of the field. Where
You know, there are places in this dome where the lights blind you.
I know, and that's we were talking to Herman Moore about that yesterday, and he said even though he's been playing here all these years and knows it, you still have to concentrate more here than any place.
That's not making excuses for Pierce, but here's Cannell. He gets it outside to Eric Pegram, and Pegram, still on his feet, spins into Lion territory.
Yeah, now that's the way to run. Now we're talking. I mean, you take that ball, and you just don't go out of bounds. You just run it up the sideline. Here's what we're talking about with those lights, Pat. Look at a football coming here. Now look at the point right here. It goes into the lights, and you lose it for a second. You can't see it, and that's why you have to concentrate on that point that it went in, because you know it's going to come out that same point. That could have been what happened to Aaron Pierce. He didn't see it.
Very well could have been. 1st and 10 at the Detroit 44. That's Charles Way, who gets a couple straight up the middle.
You know, I like Danny Cannell, just the way he runs things. I mean, the way he stands in the huddle, the way he calls a play, the way he goes up to the line of scrimmage. It doesn't look like anything bothers him. And you think a guy, you know, starting his second start in the NFL would be, you know, nervous and jumpy, but Danny Cannell doesn't look any of those things right now.
He's been back and been under pressure for a long time. A lot of times it's the same pass. It's picked off this time. Van Malone fumbles, and the Giants appear to have it back. They do. Malone made the interception. Charles Way made the recovery.
And there's a penalty back here too, Pat. I think they hit Danny Cannell after he threw the ball. I think there's going to be a roughness penalty. I think there's a whole bunch of penalties. Watch this. Here's Cannell standing there. Now this is after the interception, and that you see Waltrip. He's going there. Now what happened is Cannell does go to defense after that, and you can block him,
but you can't. Why are you tackling without the ball?
Yeah, you can't do what Curran Waltrip did there. He just tackled him and wrestled him to the ground.
Van Malone is saying he was down.
He threw that same pass to Aaron Pierce, except I think they told Aaron Pierce don't stop on it this time. Aaron Pierce didn't stop. Danny Cannell just threw the ball deep, and he threw it right to Van Malone, who was sitting back there as a safety.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 93. Tack it on at the end of the play. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down, New York.
Against Waldrop.
So, yeah, here you see Aaron Pierce going down on that seam route. It was just a little deep. You see the interception there. And then you see now the ball is knocked out. In fact, the ball was knocked out by his own man. Mark Carrier came out and knocked the ball out of there before he went down.
Way made the recovery. They add the penalty on to the end of the interception. After they recovered it, then the penalty was added, so it's 1st and goal at the 8. Tyrone Wheatley inside the 5.
He just got right in there behind Greg Bishop and Roman Oben. That's the thing. This is where a big offensive line can take advantage of a smaller defense. When you get them inside the 10-yard line, and you can just take it and just boom and boom and boom and just pound on them. Just take your guys and just fire out and just get a body on a body and just get that much of a crease.
And when you have a 270-pound tight end like Howard Cross, who also blocks, Wheatley to about the 2. Add that to those big offensive linemen, you can get some work done.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. And then you take a big fullback like Charles Way and add that, and that's what the Giants are all about. But it's interesting what Jim Fossil's going to call here now. They ran on 1st down, they ran on 2nd down, and now when you get like 2nd and goal, this is really a passing down. They have to pass here.
2 tight ends. Here's Cannell. Howard Cross gets the touchdown. from Cannell.
We were just saying they had to pass. Danny Cannell did pass, and he passed to the guy who doesn't catch a heck of a lot of passes. We talk about that offensive line and Howard Cross being a part of it. That time he just got inside the end zone, and Danny Cannell, just as he was getting ready to hit, he let it fly. We talk about a quarterback having to stand in there. Danny Cannell stood in there on that one.
The extra point is good by Daluiso. And the Giants lead at 7-0 in the first quarter.
And no one covers him. See, it starts with a little play fake there. Here comes Howard Cross. He is wide open. Danny Cannell saw him just as he was getting hit.
Daluiso kicks off. Milburn retreats to the back of the end zone and out. And the Lions will take over at their own 20. The Giants lead at 7-0.
You know, the Giants talked about what you have to do against Barry Sanders is no one guy is going to stop him. You have to get a bunch of guys there, and watch how they did it. The first time they did it with penetration. The second time they did it with a guy putting a triangle on him. You put a guy in front of him and then a guy on either side, like an obtruse triangle.
Russell said we need to capture him, not kill him. Here's Barry Sanders up to about the 24.
And then, you know, the thing about capturing is you don't capture them for a long time. And I think that when we talked to Bobby Ross yesterday, that was the thing that he said he learned about Barry Sanders is, you know, he may get off to a slow start.
Yep.
I mean, every run that he runs isn't going to be a big one. But you can't get away from it. You have to stay with it the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter, the entire game.
He emphasized we've got to be patient. We've got to keep giving him the ball, like you said. Barry Sanders. And there are little creases he can get through that nobody else can. Out of bounds at the Giant 39. Boy, is that ever vintage Barry Sanders.
And that's the example of it. I mean, They had him under control. He wasn't getting anything. Here they just have Corey Schlesinger is going to give him a lead. You see the fullback here? He starts on the other side. He gives him that block right there on Felipe Sparks, and that's the block to freedom.
The block by Vardell.
Watch, Vardell is right here. He's going to come across, and right there he kicks out Felipe Sparks. But I tell you, that's terrible tackling down there. But again, he will make you do that. But Tito Wooten just kind of waved him by on that one. That was a terrible looking tackle.
Here comes a corner blitz. Mitchell gets rid of it to Herman Moore. A gain of about 9. Right now from McDonald's game break, let's return to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Pat and John, right now there's a log jam at the top of the NFC East. That's because the Eagles got that 24-yard game-winning field goal in overtime by Chris Bonio for Arizona. Drops another close one, 13-10. Back to Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Scott Mitchell up under the center has to take a timeout with 2nd and 2. This is a Detroit timeout. The Giants leading the Lions. A highly polished Model T. This offense is operating not like a Model T. 2nd and 2 on the Giant 31. That's Vardell, the fullback. This is a new look Lions offense. In previous years, Sanders was always back by himself.
You know, the funny thing about that play, it was just one back, and the one back was Tommy Vardell.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders wasn't even in there.
Right.
So sometimes they'll do one back with Tommy Vardell, sometimes one back with Barry Sanders, and then they go into the 2-back or I formation like they are now, with Vardell being the lead or fullback.
And here's Sanders. Try to cut back. Corey Miller made the stop almost by himself. That's rare.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, though, if you have a lot of other guys around there, then you can take a shot at the tackle. And I think that's what Corey Miller did. And you're going to see him come in and make the tackle because he has a lot of other guys around. You watch here. Now he can take the shot right there because they have him surrounded. I think when you're the only guy, that's when you have to worry about taking an aggressive tackle shot at a Barry Sanders.
3 wide receivers fumbled on the exchange. The Giants, I believe, have it. They're all pointing in that direction. The Lion defensive unit is headed on the field, so they believe.
Here we were talking last time how the Giants beat the Detroit Lions, and they beat them with turnovers.
Yep.
And so far in this game, they're starting the same way. You see that Kevin Glover, who was the center, took his left hand off the ball and started to point because he's calling the protection or the blocking. And in doing so, I think he took a concentration off of the snap.
I think Scott Mitchell thought he was going to snap the ball.
Well, he saw that left hand come out there, and all Glover was doing was moving to point to something.
Yep.
And then I think Mitchell started to get out of there himself. But watch Glover. He's the center right here. You'll see the left hand. You see it point out there. And I think Mitchell started to move.
That's exactly what happened.
And he was pulling out, and the ball got there short.
And the Giants have the ball. Here's Cannell. High. Intended for Kevin Alexander.
Kevin Alexander didn't like that one, do you? Anytime you're a receiver and there's a defensive back coming up like Corey Raymond was coming up on you, you don't want to be up there and extended. So Kevin Alexander started to extend a little, and then boom, he brought those elbows right down to get him by the ribs.
That's like running out of bounds. There was a time you didn't do that. Here's Cannell back to throw. The Lions on a blitz, but the Giants have the screen pass call to Wheatley. And Wheatley gets about 3, stopped by Corey Raymond.
Yeah, we talked about these teams. They're both having the same record, both having new head coaches. The other thing that I like about both these teams is that they're both good tackling teams. They tackle very well. They all swarm to the ball, and they get a lot of guys going. They gang tackle. They do those kinds of things. Both teams do. Detroit Lions are trying to get the crowd into this game because the Giants are in shotgun and they don't want Danny Cannell to be able to give the snap count.
Showing blitz. Now they back out of it. 4-man rush. They get the ball out to Charles Way, and Way will get a Giant first down. Good effort. Stephen Boyd made the stop.
That's been one of the big things here in Detroit. It is really very difficult to hear. So what the linemen do, you can see them. They'll just look in at the ball on this shotgun, and then when the ball snaps, then they set back. They get their pass protection, and when they can give Danny Cannell that type of time, and he can find his underneath guys, he can pick up first down.
1st and 10 at their 41.
You know, there's a guy, Charles Way, that has become an important part of this offense.
This is Wheatley, who gets about a yard. If that. Mark Carrier, after all those years with the Bears, over playing with the dreaded Lions now.
Watch Mark Carrier here. He's in the huddle, and he calls part of the defense. They signal it in, and Stephen Boyd, the middle linebacker, calls in the huddle. He calls the front, and Mark Carrier calls the coverage.
But the Giants are lining up so quickly they don't give them time. Tyrone Wheatley gets the carry.
And again, the Giants get back and get in and out of the huddle so quickly that they don't give Detroit a long time to set on that play. Here you can see, here's Mark Carrier. He's going to call the coverage. Here's Boyd here. He's going to call the front. You see, so the first thing you have to do is call the front, then you call the coverage. Usually one guy does both. Detroit's case, they have 2 guys.
Cannell goes back in the shotgun again with a back on each side. The Lions show blitz. 1 man comes clean. Cannell threw it away, and then is there a flag? No flag.
And that 1 man coming free was Luther Ellis. He's the inside tackle. He's probably the best of this group. Luther Ellis is right here, an inside pass rusher. You see him in the left-hand stance. There is going to be a blitz, but see Ellis, he just works, splits that thing. Then he comes free right there. He makes Cannell go to the outside, and then he grabs him by the ankles.
Brad Maynard back to punt. Glenn Milburn back deep for Detroit. off the side of his foot. Milburn signals fair catch and makes it at the 22, where Detroit's offense will come back on the field. The Lions look a little shaky on both sides of the ball so far.
Well, they've had those 2 turnovers. You know, they made an interception, and then Mark Carrier knocked the ball out of Van Malone's hand. Then they had problems as they were going in here with the snap. But their defense, after they did have that last turnover, the Detroit defense did a pretty good job of stopping the Giants here.
So the Lions operating at their own 23-yard line. 2 tight ends set up for Detroit. And Barry Sanders gets the carry. Bounces to the outside. Gone.
Yes, they have to get Barry Sanders involved in the game early, you know, which is obvious. They're always going to do that. And the other guy is Herman Moore. And, you know, the longer they hold off getting the ball to Herman Moore, the more difficult it becomes. He's caught 1 pass so far, but I think they have to think now about getting the ball to him.
This might be the down they do it. Up the middle to Herman Moore, and Moore will get a Detroit first down. They do things with Moore that in previous years they didn't do. They move him from the right side all around.
Yeah, you're going to see him now in the slot. Until this year, he never lined up in the slot. He was always outside on the right, and here he just works linebackers. Anytime you're in a slot, anytime you're in a slot, you can just work linebackers. And what Mitchell tries to do, he says, with Herman Moore, you always want to give him the ball high. You never want it below his shoulder pads. And that time, the way Herman Moore likes it, Scott Mitchell threw him a perfect pass.
And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. We're a spooky group that goes with us, don't we?
You say spooky or screwy?
Both. Both.
They're all kerfuffled down there.
1st and 10. Mitchell rolls after the fake to Sanders. Pass is caught by Johnny Morton. Coming across from the opposite side, all the way across.
You know, Scott Mitchell does that well, move. You know, I mean, you think of him as a big guy, but watch him when he starts back, and then he gets out here. He throws well as he's moving, especially to his left. I mean, it's so natural. Watch him. See, he comes on a bootleg. He fakes to the right, bootlegs out here, and that is a picture-perfect pass.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, talk about a big guy, 6'6" and 242. He is a big guy.
And then you see him running out there in a bootleg. That is a sight to behold. So we just saw a sight to behold.
The Lions take their 2nd timeout, so they have 1 left. 7-0 the Giants. Autumn has arrived. Foliage is starting to change to orange. Scott Mitchell gives to Barry Sanders. Sanders crosses the Giant 45, stopped by Keith Hamilton.
Little Semple, he wants to get back in there. Tony Semple, the starting left guard. Remember we saw those gloves on the play before? Those were Tony Semple's. Tony Semple's the left guard there, and the reason they were there is he's also the snapper on the punt team. So he plays with his gloves when he's blocking like that. Then when he snaps the ball for the punt, he takes his gloves off.
He left his gloves. Mitchell behind Vardell was rushed hard.
So that was Keith Hamilton in there, and you know, that's what helps to be 6'6" though, because even though Hamilton is on him, watch Scott Mitchell, how big he is. I mean, he can still take Hamilton, look and throw over the rushing guy. I mean, there aren't many quarterbacks that can do that with what Scott Mitchell just did. I mean, it didn't work. It wasn't complete, but some guys would, you know, I mean, half the quarterbacks in the league would be getting up looking out their ear hole after a play like that.
Sack.
And he got that ball off over Keith Hamilton.
3rd and 6, 3 wide receivers for Detroit. Morton.
Oh, they didn't know what to call it. They still didn't call it.
Catch.
Oh, they both went up there and stared at each other. The two officials both went up there and stared at each other and just started waving their hands above their head.
I don't think he got both feet down.
I don't know, and I don't know that they know that he got both feet down. Let's watch Johnny Morton there.
You got a knee. A knee equals 2 feet. Is that right?
One knee does equal 2 feet. He got one knee down and then the 2 feet. Yeah, so he did. I guess both feet were in there in the one knee, but the officials made a late call on that one, but it was a right call.
Fake again to Sanders, and Mitchell fires incomplete, intended for Metzelars. When you've been playing this league as long as Metzelars, it's hard to get going and it's hard to get stopped.
you know, when you talk about, I was talking about the big tight end, and then with Pete Metzelars, you can put old in front of it. You know, big old tight, not old, O-L-D, but he's played, look at this, 16 years he's been in the league. So you can call Pete Metzelars a big old tight end. And as you say, you know, when you've been playing in this league for 16 years, it's hard to start and it's hard to stop. You need some walls once in a while. Some cranes to get you up and some walls to stop you.
Here's Mitchell to Moore. Inside the 10 to about the 8. Perfect strike from Scott Mitchell to Herman Moore.
That's the position that Herman Moore has always played. He's up here in this, on the top. Felipe Sparks is here. He's going to come up and just run a slant in here, and Scott Mitchell is going to hit him right after he makes a break. You see, he starts up there 3-step, boom, that is a perfect pass. Felipe Sparks looked like he was waiting for something else, for Herman Moore to do something else other than run the slant.
Sanders to the 5. Stopped by Michael Strahan. There's the defensive coordinator, John Fox.
He really has his work cut out for him with this offense, because, you know, one thing that you have to, you know, worry about Barry Sanders on every play, but then if you gang up on that line of scrimmage, then Scott Mitchell just goes back and boom, he hits Herman Moore.
They really got 3 guys you have to worry about. Moore, Mitchell, and of course Sanders. That's Fardell. Nudges up for a couple of yards, baby.
You know, Barry Sanders has been in the league for 9 years, and one thing in those 9 years that Detroit has never done is used him very effectively on the goal line. In fact, you can see what they're doing to him right now. They're taking him out. I've never understood that. I mean, I would just think with his talents and his abilities that, you know, I mean, he's so dangerous that the place you would want him is on the field when you have to score.
They go with one back. That's Fardell. Mitchell rolling to his left, looking, and now he's going back the other way. Mitchell is a good athlete. Stayed forever at the dance. No, he's out of the end zone. Didn't get him down. That's Boyd.
You know, that whole play started about 20 minutes ago, but he was trying to get the ball to his right to Herman Moore, and they had good coverage. Felipe Sparks has good coverage on him. Here's the end of the play, and you're going to see that he's that's awfully close. But watch, that right foot is on the line, is out of bounds. But he was trying to throw the ball to Herman Moore, and they had great coverage over there on the right side, and that's what forced Scott Mitchell to have to scramble.
Jason Hansen from 22 yards away will try to put the Lions on the board. Hansen's kick is good, and that makes it 7 for the Giants, and the Lions 3. We're in the second quarter.
That was a good call by John Fox. I mean, Felipe Sparks, they've been working on Felipe Sparks with Herman Moore. So what John Fox did, he put the double on him, had Tito Wooten take away the inside.
Hansen to kick it off. Eric Pegram is back deep at the goal line. Pegram is down at about the 16. That play took forever. 20 minutes, as you said.
I know. You see Scott Mitchell. Watch it starts up here 0-0. Now watch, because he couldn't throw it to his right to Herman Moore. Watch that. I mean, it's 5, it's 6, 8, it's 7, it's 9. He's still going, still going, still going.
Last time I saw that much click off was on the gas pump.
I wonder when the last time Scott Mitchell ran that long.
That is Pegram running left. And again, for McDonald's game break, let's return you to James Brown at the Fox Television Center in Hollywood.
Pat, Eddie George ran roughshod over Washington's 29th ranked rushing defense. He ran for 125 yards, 2 touchdowns as Tennessee upended Washington by 14. Log jam at the top of the NFC East. If the Giants are successful today, they're in sole possession of first. Back to Pat and John.
How about that? How about that little fact? That'll be at the halfway point of the season. If the Giants win today, they'll be alone at the top of the NFC East.
Yeah, well, right now, as we stand, they are in first place. Of course, they're tied. You see, Washington is 4-3. The Giants are 4-3. And Dallas all 4-3.
And Philadelphia winning today in overtime is 3-4. And Dallas and Philly play next week.
It's kind of nice to see that again. Remember when we used to see things like this with Washington and
New York,
Philadelphia, and the Giants up there, and those great rivalry games, Giants, Redskins, Eagles, Giants, and that was a heck of a lot of fun.
Canal scrambles, flung it in the direction of Pegram right at the last second to avoid the sack, chased by Reggie Brown.
And that's why the Giants are going to have more success on first and second down, because as big as that offensive line is and as good as they are at run blocking, they're not really good at pass protection, and they're having trouble on those third down pass protection.
Back to punt is Maynard. And back deep is Milburn. It's a better kick. Milburn at the 30. He is hit hard at the 40. I mean, I heard it all the way up here.
Well, there's some good hitting out there today. Good hitting weather in this dome today.
Brandon Sanders made the hit. We're at the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, the home of the Lions. Pat Summerall with John Madden. 7-3 Giant lead. The Lions have the ball first and 10 at their own 41. Mitchell waved to somebody, but nobody moved. He gets it out to Vardell. Vardell.
You know,
it's about 6. Excuse me, John.
On that punt coverage, we were talking about real good hitting weather. Brandon Sanders really made a heck of a play, number 34 here, because this is Sanders right here, and on the punt coverage, they call that outside guy the gunner, and he's getting double teamed, and when you get double teamed, they do everything to him, and he kept fighting and fighting and working and working, and look what he found at the end of that. Now that's football.
2nd and 4. That's Barry Sanders. That's a first down for Detroit at the Giant 45. Thomas Randolph made a stop.
You know, sometimes you can be in good position. Chad Bradsky was the end on that side, the right end, and Barry Sanders just came up and gave him a move and ran outside of him. He had containment. He knew what he was supposed to do. He did what the coaches told him to do. But the guy with the ball is Barry Sanders, and all that coaching doesn't mean anything when it's Barry Sanders.
Remember when they used to call him a groin guy?
Yeah, he pulled more groins than anyone in this league.
Flag on the play as Sanders saw it out of the corner of his eye. It's just a good example of the kind of vision he's got. He was running with the ball, headed up the middle of the field.
Snap, ball start.
And he saw that flag go up to his left.
5 yards. It's still first down.
Kevin Hickman, the guilty party.
And he wears a shield too.
Yeah,
I mean, he's one of the guys that shield. So Barry Sanders is seeing things through his eyes, and he's seeing everything, and you can't see his eyes because you don't know what he's looking at.
Is that fair?
A lot of things Barry Sanders does to you aren't fair.
Here's Mitchell to Morton. Flag on the play. And it's going to be called pass interference against Sehorn, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, Johnny Morton got up and he started pointing right at Jason Sehorn. Johnny Morton and Jason Sehorn were teammates.
31 of the defense, automatic first down.
They were teammates at USC. In fact, Johnny Morton is one of the reasons that Jason Sehorn is a defensive player. When Jason Sehorn went to USC, he was a wide receiver.
And a baseball player.
Yeah, and they had all these receivers there, and they said, you know, if you want to play, you better go over to defense because you're not going to play much wide receiver. So he did.
Sanders just flipped as he started to see some daylight.
Yeah, Barry Sanders just moves everything at once. Just watch this run as he gets the ball here. I mean, he's moving head, he's moving shoulders, he's moving hips, he's moving knees, he's moving feet, he's moving sideways. I mean, he was at one time he was perpendicular. And anytime there's going to be a good or a big run by a back, there's going to be a block by a wide receiver.
2nd and 4, and Sanders finds some daylight. To the 22.
I don't care. He's amazing.
He really is.
You could say
it's incredible.
You can say he could move this way, he could move that way, but how do you tackle something like this? I mean, you got to take on blockers, and then look. I mean, he sees everything. He's looking at a guy. He's putting a move on everyone. He's cutting back. He has vision. He has feel. He has everything. All his movements are going on at the same time together. He already has 72 yards.
This is Schlesinger straight ahead. Barry Sanders is truly amazing. He would be like tackling a handful of confetti. You see it, but you can't grab it.
And that's what everyone's been doing. I mean, and to think, the problem the Giants have here is they're getting blocked also. So you have to be coming off blocks as he's doing this to you. And, I was out at practice the other day watching him practice, and when he practices, he picks out a lineman, a linebacker, and a defensive back to make a move on.
Here's Mitchell back to throw. Schlesinger inside the 10 to about the 7. The backup fullback.
Rory Schlesinger, he made this team, and he made the league as a special teams guy. In fact, he's the top special teams guy of the Lions. He's out of Nebraska.
Yep.
In fact, I was going through Nebraska the other day. I stopped in Sydney for lunch.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys. I saw Schlesinger in practice the other day, and I saw a lot of guys. They all look like Schlesinger from Nebraska.
Well, and they all play for the Huskers. Here's Sanders. Darting, jumping, and he's on. He's in the end zone.
Now watch what he does with the ball. He just hands it to the official. I mean, this is class. I mean, you got guys jumping around and you got guys doing dances and stuff. Watch Barry Sanders. I mean, it's nothing. He just hands it to the official. He says, that's it. He said you have to act like you've been there before and you're going to be back again.
And he will be.
Watch his move. I mean, he gets the ball and he's making moves on moves. I mean, he's jumping and going, and there's poor old Tito Wooten. That's the second time Tito Wooten has missed him big. Barry Sanders will put you on a highlight film if you're a defensive player.
But it won't be your highlight. It'll be his.
Listen to him yell, Barry, Barry.
The Lions take the lead. Standouts from around the league about Barry Sanders.
Barry's the best, simply the best that ever played the game, man. What he lacked in stature, he makes up in quickness and ability.
If you got a knee problem, Barry, he might put you out. The guy has the greatest acceleration that I've ever seen.
Let's see. If it was easy to bring him down, he wouldn't have so many yards, now would he?
No, I guess he wouldn't.
Or so many touchdowns, or so many anything.
He's incredible. Hansen kickoff comes down to Pegram at the 2. And Pegram fell down at about the 15 and struggled to get to the 20.
The amazing thing about it is when you talk to every Giant player, they don't even call Barry, his last name is just Barry. You know, we got to do this to Barry. We have to do that for Barry. I think he's probably the most respected player in the league. And then you come in and you know that that's who you have to stop. So Barry Sanders isn't doing these things with no defense out there. I mean, he's doing these things where 11 guys are keying on stopping him.
Not just respected because of his physical ability, respected because of who he is and how he conducts himself.
I've never heard another player say a bad word about Barry Sanders.
Howard Cross takes the throw from Cannell and picks up just a few yards. Stephen Boyd was the first Lion there. Howard Affleck questioned this year how many teams who play in a dome stadium have played in a Super Bowl. How many teams who play in a dome like the Silver Dome have played in the Superdome?
You mean where the dome is their home stadium?
Yes. Flag on the play. A lot of flags.
I think that's Big Ron Stone, the right guard of the Giants.
Number 65, 5 yards. It's still second down.
That was Big Ron Stone.
The answer is, how many teams play in a dome? Play in the Super Bowl? None. That really upset Bobby Ross.
Yeah, I know. You know, that's been a factor around Super Bowl time. You always talked about that. And, you know, about no team that plays in the Super Bowl, I mean, that plays in domes ever made a Super Bowl. And I brought it up to Bobby Ross.
He didn't like it.
He didn't know that.
He didn't like it.
After he learned it, he didn't like it.
Here's Tyrone Wheatley. Started to say Charles Way. Charles Way looked earlier like he had some sort of shoulder difficulty, but it seems okay now.
And see, one of the problems the Giants are having offensively is they're not having any success on first down. I mean, they ran first down and they didn't make any yardage, and then they had to run second down and they got a little here, so they're 3rd and 5, which isn't a bad down, but they would like to get to, you know, 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. I think is a better down for Danny Cannell in this offense than 3rd and more than 5.
Out of the shotgun, the Lions creep up on defense. Cannell goes deep, and he's got Callaway. And Callaway gets inside the Lion 40 to about the 37-yard line. Robert Bailey was the man on the coverage.
Well, here's Callaway. He's in the slot right here. And he gets on a double coverage. The outside man leaves him. Bailey was the inside guy. He makes a move into Bailey to hold him, and then he runs outside. Now watch this, Pat. On 3rd down, what the linemen do is they hold hands, so that's a silent snap count. So then the guard lets go, and the tackle starts to block.
Wheatley, the intended receiver. That was just a touch hands. They weren't holding. That's better.
Well, they got big old hands and big old gloves and stuff like that. But what they do is they just touch hands and then when the guard lets go, then the tackle knows that the ball snapped. And the guard can just look right down at the ball, and then when the ball snapped, he lets go and he starts his protection. They do that on 3rd down and shotgun.
Wheatley again. Cut down in the backfield by Reggie Brown. Lost a few.
Yeah, here's Reggie Brown. See, the minute he sees this pitch, he's getting up the field. And then Wheatley is in the backfield, and he didn't have a chance to make a move on him. That's, you know, if you had the ideal situation, you want to do exactly what Reggie Brown did on that play. Get in their backfield and get them before they ever get started.
And get up as fast as you can.
Listen to this crowd now. This is why these linemen are going to have to hold and/or touch hands.
3 wide receivers, and they're doing it again. There it is.
Yeah, that's kind of a hold.
Cannell with the pressure coming, and he throws it. Nobody near where he threw it, and the flag is down. They're going to get him for intentional grounding. Pressured by Stephen Boyd.
Yeah, they are, and you see the Giants, you know, can't handle that. They can't handle the 3rd and long, so they you know, they can't take those penalties. They can't take losses, because anytime they get in 3rd and long, they get in that shotgun.
Intentional grounding. Number 13 at the spot of the foul. The down counts. 4th down.
See, with this crowd here and that Lion pass rush, the Giants just have to stay out of 3rd and long because they can't handle it.
And we have the 2-minute warnings. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Giants 7, second quarter. Back to punt. Brad Maynard. And Milburn again back deep for Detroit. This is a good kick. High, will have to be handled, and is handled. Whoa, and it goes way over his head. Pretty good fake. Fake me out.
Oh, well, he had to. He was just standing there. That ball was over his head and went right into the end zone. That's Harry Colon.
Harry Colon, who was down. I didn't see anybody close to him even. Obviously, somebody must have been.
Yeah, you're going to see number 29 there, right there.
Oh, did he get hit?
In fact, he was getting in position to make a hit, and then he got hit.
That's Brandon Sanders again.
Brandon Sanders was the guy that came down, broke off the double team, and came down to make the tackle.
Yep.
The last.
Meantime, Lions 1st and 10. And Barry Sanders looking for some room. Taken down by Michael Strahan.
Yeah, that's why you have to keep your gaps, and that's what Michael Strahan did on that play. You know that even though Barry Sanders starts to the left, if you're over on the other side, just wait, because he could be coming back to that side.
Timeout Giants. And they have 2 left. A reminder to stay with us at the half for the Dockers Khakis halftime report. JB and Terry will have highlights from around the league, scores from the other games around the league.
You know, the Giants, as you said, Pat, they have 2 timeouts left. Detroit have used all their timeouts, so they don't have any timeouts. They'd like to get a first down and then go to work, but I think the first thing they have to think before they can go to work is get a first down. Or they can just play, we'll just play this out and not let the Giants get the ball back.
Here's Mitchell back to throw. Going to be chased out of the pocket. Held on for a moment, now slides and goes out of bounds.
He didn't get out of bounds.
Out of bounds. The clock still runs.
I don't know that he wanted to get out of bounds anyway.
I don't think he should have.
I mean, I would think that you would want to keep the clock going if you're Detroit now, to just to run it off, or to make the Giants use a timeout, which they just did.
Yeah.
You know, Scott Mitchell was a heck of an athlete.
Oh,
we were talking to Jim Fossil. Jim Fossil was the head coach at the University of Utah, and he recruited Scott Mitchell. He didn't think he had a chance because Scott Mitchell was lived in Salt Lake City, or I mean lived in Utah, close to BYU. In fact, his grandmother was a cousin of Lavelle Edwards, who was the head coach at BYU, and Jim Fossil said he was sure that Scott Mitchell was going to go to BYU, but he just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there, and BYU had recruited 9 quarterbacks, and Scott Mitchell said he was going to be the 9th, so he didn't want to go there, and that's why he went to the University of Utah with Jim Fossil.
He was an all-state baseball player, an all-state basketball player as well. And Fossil didn't think he even had a chance. The pass is incomplete. That stops the clock. Tommy Boyd, the intended receiver. Let's go down now to the sidelines to our reporter Jennifer Hammond.
All right, obviously, gentlemen, anybody's upset here to see a player down in the field with the Mike Utley situation that took place many years ago. Van Malone has been immobilized and moved off the field. Trainer Ken Falb has said to us that he is going to be okay. He appeared to be conscious as he went by, licking his lips, although we didn't see a whole lot of movement from his limbs. So we'll keep word from you to find out how they're going to transport him and deal with his injury. Back upstairs to you.
Harry Colon was the player. A minute 7 seconds. The Giants will take over just short of midfield. 1:07 left to play in the first half. The Giants have 1 timeout left. Detroit's are gone. Four wide receivers. Cannell operating out of the spread trying to get the word to the wide receivers. And back to throw it. And incomplete. David Patton, who scored a touchdown last week for the Giants, was the intended receiver.
Yeah, I remember years ago when Bill Walsh was the head coach of the 49ers, and he put in a shotgun. And he worked out in all training camp, and then one of their first games was here against the Detroit Lions. They got in shotgun. They couldn't hear anything, so he never ran the shotgun formation again. And the 49ers, for all those years, never did again.
Well, Cannell, of course, got used to it when he was in college at Florida State. The reception, well, it was not a reception. The officials have said incomplete. Kevin Alexander.
Yeah, Danny Cannell said that when he was at Florida State that he was in shotgun about 80% of the time. And I just knew by watching him last week and watching him in film, he looks a heck of a lot more comfortable when he has to pass the ball when he's back there in shotgun than he does when he's up under center.
Of course, Cannell only played really 1 year as a regular. Played behind Charlie Ward, who now is with the Knicks. He was only 1 year. This is Pegram. Close to a first down. Luther Ellis made the stop. The Giants again have one timeout left.
And I think Danny Cannell just took that one timeout.
I think he did.
Yeah. See, now they need another first down to get in field goal position, and that's what you do. Now they have no timeouts left, so they're going to have to get the ball to the outside. If they do complete it inside, they're going to have to get up to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball. But they still need about 10 more yards to be in comfortable field goal position.
Brad Dalwiso has a very strong leg, but it's been a scatter shooting leg this year from long distance.
Maybe they can get him one of these real long distances where there's no way he's expected to make it. Maybe he'll just relax and just boom that thing through. I've seen that happen before too.
Many times.
So if they can pick up another 5 or 10 yards and then get out of bounds and stop the clock, they will be in field goal position.
Cannell pointing over to a player he thinks is going to blitz. Blitz didn't come. They get the screen pass. They get it to Pegram, and Pegram doesn't get out of bounds and doesn't come near the needed yardage to get the field goal team closer.
Everything was bad on that one. He didn't get out of bounds and he lost yardage.
Clock still running. 25 seconds left. Get the ball to Callaway. Callaway might get close enough.
Yep, that'll be a 52-yard field goal from this position here if they can get the clock stopped.
Now he's got to spike it.
Yep.
7 seconds left in the first half, and here comes the field goal unit.
Yeah, and they're on the 35-yard line. So what you do is you take the yard line they're on and add 17 yards. 10 yards for the end zone, 7 yards for the distance between the snapper and the holder.
And you come out with 52.
52.
You learned that in what, third grade football or algebra?
In third grade, but I think that they're back a little further here. They're back more than 7 yards.
Yeah.
53.
They're calling it 52, but it's 52 and a half, and this one plenty far enough. And it's good. And that evens things up at 10 apiece with about no time left in the first half, as the two teams will in all likelihood head for the locker room before they run any more plays.
Well, Danny Cannell did his job. He got that after that loss. He got that big one to Callaway.
2 seconds left.
Yep, and then he got the clock stopped so Dalwiso could kick this 52 or 53 yarder.
I tell you what, that one had a lot of room left at the end of it.
Yeah, I mean that could have been a 62 or 63 yarder.
Yeah. Way to go, Brad.
Yeah, now he's all smiles. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that dome stadiums are pretty good for kickers, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have to worry about that stuff.
I never played in one, but I've heard that.
I was looking through the thing, talking about not playing in one. You were drafted by the Detroit Lions, but you never played for the Detroit Lions. What happened?
That's correct. I was traded to the Cardinals. Then I went to the Giants.
I know that, but you were traded. You were drafted by the Lions and then traded before training camp or during the draft, or what?
I was at the All-Star game in Chicago, and I was traded while I was there. The Cardinals didn't have a kicker or a defensive end. That'll take care of the end of the first half with the score. The Giants 10, the Lions 10, and Fox NFL Sunday will continue with the Dockers Khakis halftime report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station.